All right, welcome everyone to our administrative public meeting of the Missoula Board of County Commissioners on this April 2nd. Annie, would you be so kind as to do roll call?
Yes, it looks like online we have Cheryl Hartman, Christina Dewar, Eric Dixon, Jason Hauser, John Hart, Martin Kitston, MCAT, Mel Fisher, Shane Stack, Shelby Dunwell. And in 206, we have Commissioner Stromar, Hero Slotnick, Chris Lounsbury, Emmy Bristow, Carrie Powers, myself, Annie Cappy, Maddie Scott. We have Jacob Ellington, Sean Chandler. I got it, just a minute, give me 2 seconds. I have it. Andrew Hagemeyer and Ian Varley is new with our Lands and Communities Office. That's it. Oh, Allison Pratt, I missed her. I just told her.
Good job, Annie. Is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? Seeing none, we'll roll right into the consent agenda. There are 6 items on there. Anyone want to pull anything off of there for discussion?
Can't help myself and make some comments. You're open to some comments?
No.
Well, whether I'm open or not, I think they're coming. So, Chair, you can be okay.
I just wanted to note there has been questions and people wondering in a good sense. So what do we do with all that ARPA money? And in here's a really great example of one of the many things we did with ARPA money. And this is a big update to the Buena Vista wastewater sewer system. ARPA money means this $106,000 doesn't have to be made up by the folks who are on that system, which would be a huge hit to them. So this is a great project and keeps those people's tax bills down. They pay this in their taxes. Also noting really great work being done on the Rock Creek Bridge, critical scour bridge, fixing it now rather than after it breaks. So just wanted to note those things.
Great. I guess I do have a question for, let's see, Eric, you're out there, or Shane. Any update on
Eric is looking.
Eric.
Are you out of Rock Creek today?
No, I'm at Maclay right now.
Maclay, yeah.
How are things looking out there?
Good. We're kind of slow going. We only have 2 guys out here working right now. Most of our crew, of course, has been working on Rock Creek, but I think we're to a point out there where we're slowing down. And I mean, it's still not much more work than 2 people can do out here right now, but we'll start picking up the pace.
Okay, the pace is going to be picked up.
Yeah, when do you have any dates on any estimates on completion?
No, I think for both, we're still just really looking towards the end of this month. I think Rock Creek is on a really good schedule. I think we're ahead of what Mike Day was hoping that we would be on. Maclay, again, has kind of been suffering because of that work on Rock Creek, being a little more critical for, our April 15th in-stream deadline for being able to work. So I think both of them look good, though, still for being done in April.
Could you describe that April 15th deadline to the dozens of people watching at home?
Sure. So that comes from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. That's a regulatory issue for bull trout migration. They see April 15th as kind of the cutoff of when bull trout start migrating. So they like to have the in-stream work done by that time, just to avoid impacts to the bull trout.
Were you guys able to get the parts for Maclay that you needed to order from afar?
For the most part, yes. I spoke with True North. Yes, I didn't speak with them, traded emails yesterday. We think that the deck pan that we need for the majority of the repairs will be shipping soon, so it may be here this week. But with the way things started, we have that work on the west end by River Pines. Everything that we need for that end we have. So it's not really holding us up any to have those materials still being delivered at this point. So we're doing okay.
You can't get them from True North, they'll order them through Magnetic North.
I thought Eric was gonna say, yeah, they're coming through the port in Baltimore.
Eric, so my question for you, any highlights of the Schedule A update with the Forest Service?
No, I might have to lean on Shane for that one. We talked about it a long time ago, and I think this is just, Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of just catching up on recording the official paperwork that we discussed.
I think the only thing I would add, Eric, is that Josh, you'd probably appreciate this. I think part of it was just making sure that we had some language related to like Patty Canyon or considering Patty Canyon for that winter.
Great.
Just so I think that, having a conversation with Forest Service about just winter maintenance on Patty Canyon kind of spurred along the interest in trying to update that Schedule A.
Thanks for keeping that in there, making it happen, Shane. The people in Patty Canyon will be very grateful.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
I move we pass this consent agenda.
Second.
Further discussion or public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Our first action item today is brought to us by John Hart.
Where is John Hart?
Subdivision Improvement Agreement and Guarantee for Double G Ranch subdivision.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yeah, what I have is exactly that, the subdivision improvement agreement. This is for the Double G Ranch subdivision. This is a subdivision that was platted in 2022. It is just north of the Frenchtown Frontage Road off of Belker Lane, almost due north of the sort of the commercial center of Frenchtown. And interestingly, this is the second improvements agreement that I'm bringing to you for this subdivision. The first one, like I said, I brought to you in 2022. At the time they filed the final plat, and it expires in a couple of days. My understanding that none of the improvements were put in during that time frame. It's the same road network that needed to be built in 2022. This improvements agreement is for another 2-year period and would take us through April 5th of 2026. Another interesting thing is that in 2022, the improvements, including a contingency, was estimated to cost about $47,000. Now, 2 years later, those exact same improvements are estimated to cost $57,562. So the cost of waiting a couple years for this particular developer is roughly $10,000. But this is no different than most improvements agreements that I bring to you. It has the cost estimate of $57,562 was approved by Public Works Department, and the developer, Double G Rentals LLC, has a letter of credit from Trails West Bank in the amount of $57,562.50. And with that, my recommendation to the commission is to approve this new improvements agreement for 2 more years. Any questions?
No, I move that the board approve the subdivision improvement agreement and guarantee for Double G Ranch subdivision.
I'll second that, and thanks for the explanation, John.
You bet. Thank you.
Any further discussion or public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, John. Thanks for staying on top of this stuff, which is not always the case in years ago. And
Oh,
bygone era.
Comes back to bite
Yes.
us.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
Eric, you have a PSA for us regarding hot mix with Knife River.
Yeah, so we solicited our annual or a bid for our annual supply of asphalt, and we reached kind of far and wide this year. We made sure to give Treasure State up in Polson an opportunity, And there's a company down in Florence or Stevensville that I'm drawing a blank on their name, but we wanted to get good coverage this year because we were told last year to expect a 25% increase across the board from Knife River on all of their material prices, which would have put us around $80 or $82 per ton this year. So we only received one bid though, and that was from Knife River. And fortunately, they were favorable to us, and they only increased their price from last year by $3 per ton. So we did not see the 25% increase that we were expecting. So still very expensive, but not as bad as it could have been. So we would recommend that the contract be awarded to Knife River for our asphalt supply.
What are we paying per ton?
Currently at 68, so moving forward, it'll be 71.
A lot better than 82.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for trying to look under every rock for cheaper asphalt.
Yeah, we're trying to get some competition, but it's not working so far. We'll keep hoping.
All right, I would move that we approve the PSA with Knife River.
Second.
Any further discussion on this or public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right along.
Eric.
Thanks, Eric. Next, we have a PSA regarding the remodel and expansion of the nurses station, first floor of the Missoula Public Health Building. Fill us in.
It's going to get a visual.
Thanks. How old that building is? It feels like an old building.
Yeah, it was early 70s.
In the 70s.
Our shadow on the screen is Ethan.
He's back.
Hey, so let's you gentlemen tag team this.
All right. So this remodel, as you can see here, is small, but it'll have a big effect on those teams over there. There needs a lot of compression within the nurses. There's a small little L-shaped area that's shared by all the equipment and a shared desk by 4 nurses. So with this expansion, we're going to eat into some of the other offices nearby. And there was some demo of the existing casework. We're going to retain a decent amount of that, but there'll be new casework and some new infill walls to accommodate this expansion. There's also an alternate in there that was included in that price that you see there. And included as well is about a $15K contingency. And this is not, in this case, that's mainly going to be used to help us out if we run into any problems with just acquiring certain materials in time. We have a bit of compression against a deadline, which seems very realistic. We went through an IFB procurement process with this. We felt that we defined the scope of the work easily and accurately. And because of that, we got some good competitive numbers. Langless and Associates came through with the lowest number. And looking forward to working with them and their team. This drawing was put together by Encompass Architects, another firm in town, and they've done a great job in supporting this and helping with that design with Sarah Heineman out there.
Oh, great. That's awesome that Sarah was involved, and it'll work well for nurses.
It was big. There was a lot of back and forth, how we see that layout, compared to how the day-to-day operation works and the plans. There was a lot of input, and we feel like we actually have a really good product here.
That's great news.
I'm sorry, I think I spaced this, but would you say what's our deadline?
So their compression is they want everything running by early July, and we expect to have this done by early June. So it should be reasonably quick turnover. They're temporarily moving into offices in the basement of that building, and so the rest of the floor will actually be active. So it's going to be
Busy.
It'll be busy, yeah. Mm-hmm. We worked with the city to have some parking on the outside of the building and like a side entrance for construction. And we do think it'll be something that can work well, even with, the current flow of people. In July is when things pick up. So we really want to be out of there by then.
What do you expect on permitting process with the city?
So the permitting is complete.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's absolutely done. It's in the name of Langless right now. So
awesome.
We didn't run into any unusual problems. There is no abatement needs, as part of this project.
Awesome. That's great.
Forward.
Fantastic.
No, it's all good news.
Well, I move, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. Move that we approve the PSA with Langless.
Second.
Any further discussion, public comment? Ethan, anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you for your time. Well done, Sean.
It looks like he's witness protection program.
He's in an undisclosed location.
I know.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Hi,
All right, thanks, guys.
thanks, Todd.
And last but not least, on our action items, Maddie, we have a couple of folks to consider as active members of the Open Land Citizen Advisory Committee.
Yes, there was 2 positions open. Well, there's 4 positions open. One was an alternate. One is someone that just resigned, that I just got word of last week. But you met with Virginia and Tim. I think she goes by Ginny as well.
She's a Ginny.
Yes. Just figured use her actual name on this one. But if you guys are good to move forward, Haley? Kylie?
Yes.
Yeah, Kaylee.
Yeah.
She suggested moving forward on these 2 and just wants your approval.
Yeah, I just want to note, it seems like a trend in our boards lately. We're getting so many fantastic applicants.
Really
Whether
good.
it's the airport or the food board or OSAC, I mean, people who have really tremendous resumes, like great life experience, who are choosing to
Wait, this is.
volunteer some of their time. OLC.
this is
Sorry, I
OLC.
shouldn't have said OLC.
Yeah.
Sorry. OLC. Easy to mix them up.
Yeah, you tell me.
Same purview. Anyway, core of the message is but there we have been getting, as of late, really incredible applicants to do volunteer work in the name of civic responsibility. So I want to say thanks a lot to Tim and Ginny, have both great experience and really wonderful they would choose to do this.
Way better applicants than the duds that roll through OSAC. So,
Exactly. Yeah, they are hurting over there. Yeah, I move that we get Tim and Ginny on this board.
Second.
any further discussion or comment on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, we have a couple items of correspondence. Andrew, do you want to talk to us about the Lolo National Forest plan scoping update comments?
Yep. Good morning, commissioners, and welcome back to America, Allison.
The smell of freedom, Allison. No, it's not freedom.
Yeah, what we've got here is the county's response to the scoping period for the proposed action of the Lolo National Forest Plan. Our comments are drafted around the programs that we have and that we're implementing in Missoula County. And basically what the letter does is it sort of talks about how the work we're doing intersects with the Lolo National Forest, and that we plan to explore some of these topics in much greater detail through our cooperating agency status.
Yep. The letter I saw was really thorough and well done.
Great.
Well done.
Martin, any questions on our letter?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. All right, thanks for your work on it.
Yep,
And then we'll get it signed. Is there anyone here to talk about this next item?
Here's the letter, Carrie, I mean.
Basically, it's a, check, make sure. Oh, yeah, it's for Mountain Line. Yeah, it's a regular letter we send kind of in support of a grant for Mountain Line. We did a very similar one last year for them to, enhance their operations, mostly their fund vehicles and charging infrastructure to bolster the Mountain Line's existing service and ensure that agency dollars be spent on innovation rather than repairing outdated diesel vehicles. So this is just a support letter for that grant.
Yeah. I learned the other day, just through happenstance conversation with a mechanic at Chrysler who's getting all trained up on working on electric vehicles because they're really preparing for mostly electric new cars in like 2028, how incredibly dangerous it is for mechanics to work on these cars.
Really?
I did not know. Like,
They put out a lot of fumes. They put out.
no, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be.
Yeah.
And mansplaining. I just learned this. Maximum humility. That is very important. So if you mess with the electricity in your wall, we have electricians. There you go. You can probably do this way better. 110 and 300 and some odd volts coming out of these new batteries. And they talked about having a person attached to another person, so they could get pulled away.
Wow.
You're dead instantly. The amount of electricity is so. Am I getting this right?
And DC is dangerous because it's not an alternating current where it goes in and out of like past zero. It doesn't break at all, you know. So it's like you're welding pretty much, you know. With
Oh, wow.
So what is it with one person attached to another person?
So oftentimes, I think what they're talking about is you've got like a dead stick, which is like a way of like pulling something off. It doesn't take very much for you to get latched onto something, like 5 milliamps.
And you can't.
It's like
You're
holding
stuck.
like the electric fence.
Yeah.
Well, remember your body runs on electricity. So when your muscles contract.
That same amount for that reason. Yeah. And so after that, you actually physically can't let go unless, you know, you're falling and that gravity pulls you away or someone intercedes with a stick like that, you know, to separate you. So I'm not too familiar with those systems on the cars, but there is a potential for a lot because your whole power source is right there. And amperage is quite high, which is the real deadly part. So I can see why it would be, you know, very dangerous.
There you go.
Gear they can wear or something? That just seems crazy dangerous.
Yeah, you know, and how much of that they actually interact with as a mechanic, you know, I'm unsure. There should be ways, I imagine, to sort of isolate that on different parts. But if there's you're there probably, you know, oftentimes there's a fault or a failure. Because power doesn't really care how it gets up.
It's looking for a conduit.
Rules. So if you don't really know what the problem is and there's a fault that could be energizing something that shouldn't be energized, I can see that being concerned.
Okay.
Those not my mechanics.
Yeah.
Well, we did not touch on that in the letter.
Someone else asked us for a letter the other day.
Yes.
I didn't fully understand.
Yes, that was from Sladen. They actually missed the deadline. Oh, no,
It was not the library, the
Department of Labor
Yes.
and Industry.
Yes.
one. Yes, we can talk about that after this meeting. Okay. I think I sent that on to Allison too. I don't think we've missed a deadline.
All I said
for that
was,
one.
we should talk about it because I didn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand. Okay, the final item today, this is a Mako letter that deals with taxes, I believe, among other things. Josh?
So this is SB 442. So this is actually you, Dick.
Yes.
As being a member of the Mako Board of Directors.
Pass our potholes.
You have a letter?
I do,
Yeah.
right here. Yeah. There you are.
Martin, have you seen this letter?
I have not seen it yet, but I'm interested. In
Oh
taking
man,
a look.
we should most definitely get it to you. This is a letter from Mako to all these citizens of Montana with real serious concerns about HB 442.
I think
I read that
How well
yesterday.
versed are you in HB or SB 442?
I'm fairly well versed. in
Okay,
SB
well,
442.
could you provide some backstory on this?
Absolutely. So during the legislative session, SB 442 attempted to change the way that marijuana tax revenue is collected in the state of Montana and distributed across the various organizations that get a piece of that. And one of the changes that the Montana Association of Counties lobbied for was for some of that money to be redistributed back to local governments, specifically for infrastructure. And
I
so
thought it was like
roads.
infrastructure. I thought it was
No,
straight up county roads.
Nope.
and
So
bridges.
yeah. So physical infrastructure. So county roads and bridges in particular were the two categories that were identified in SB 442 as being eligible for funding. SB 442 passed by a significantly wide margin.
99-1, I thought.
That was the vote in the House. I think all told it was 140. I feel like 148. So there were 2 no votes. I think 1 in the House, 1 in the Senate. Anyways, passed by significantly wide margins, was vetoed by the governor and then got caught up in a legal battle over whether or not whether the legislature was still in session, because one house was in session and one house was out of session.
On the last day after one had done their site.
Hours, right?
It was actually within an hour, the Senate had adjourned already, but of course the transmittal process had not been completed. And so it got caught up in a legal battle that ended up with the Supreme Court saying no.
With Mako as a plaintiff.
With Mako as one of the plaintiffs, with in essence the Supreme Court saying no, one house was out of session, therefore it has to go out to this legislative override poll. And so it is out currently for legislative override, but right now that the legislation would theoretically provide Missoula County about an additional it's somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 a year towards road maintenance.
So Chris, I've heard that this,
Outside,
if I understood it right, that this would be a bigger deal for smaller counties. Is that accurate?
it is accurate. So it's because not every county collects marijuana tax revenue because it's not legal in every county. It was a county by county decision. Counties that don't collect marijuana tax revenue still benefit from it. And because of the formula that was put into law, that can lead to situations and does lead to situations where smaller counties will benefit more than larger counties where most of the revenue is collected.
And I imagine two smaller counties probably have less of a road budget. So this chunk of money goes farther than it would for us where we have a larger road budget.
I mean, I'd be making that same assumption, but
Yeah, just an assumption.
Help me understand. So the poll is open until the middle of April or
It
April?
is, well,
I think the end of this week.
I thought it was April 15th. There was a Daily Montana.
So legislators are being polled to decide whether they want to what?
Override the governor's.
Override, not come back and vote on it, but literally override.
Override the governor's veto.
but Senate leadership has taken exception to this.
Yes, so both Senate and House Republican leadership has taken exception. They believe that the governor's veto now, even though most of them voted for it, for this bill, now believe the governor's veto should be upheld because they disagree with the opinion of the Montana Supreme Court. So they are overreaching into the legislative process.
So this has become, for those folks, a question of judiciary versus legislature and judiciary overreach rather than a question of was this veto actually done properly or not?
Correct.
Which is a little irritating because, like, my gosh, we're talking about veteran services, conservation, county roads, and there's like real work that can be done on the ground, and this kind of academic legal sort of
mumbo jumbo
is.
And how often would we
ever call it legal mumbo jumbo? With the
sorry. Yes.
For precise and highly technical language you could only understand with an advanced degree.
But how work on the ground?
Also, how often would we ever see a vote 148-2 or whatever it was, and see veterans organizations, conservation organizations, and counties who care about roads all come together, and Republicans and Democrats? It seemed like everyone in the whole flipping state came together except for the governor. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus. I don't understand what his issue was with this.
Is the funding going to something else or how?
So the formula would revert back to what was originally passed by the legislature when marijuana was approved, and that funding formula is different. It removes local government and changes how much goes to like land trust and other organizations, and versus how much goes to the state's general fund.
Was this the governor kind of making a statement about local government and local spending? That we're not, they're local roads, you guys should be able to do with property taxes. You're already taxing people too much. Now you want even more money. Suck it up and figure it out how to do it within your budget. That kind of.
That I do not know. I can't answer that.
That may not be an accurate understanding of.
So it passed 48-1 in the Senate, and it passed third reading in the House after it was amended 82-17.
That's an awful lot to veto against that.
48-1, 82-17.
Yeah. Remarkable change of course if it was not overridden from people's original
Okay,
votes.
so then I'm confused on the process. So there's the poll that happens and it's already, it's done now, or what?
No, so the poll is still ongoing. I can't remember if it ends this week or next. That's the.
Can we see who is?
Not until the Secretary of State actually gets them all back and the poll is closed, and then.
Oh, okay. And that's, I'm sorry, when did you say that's happening?
I think it's either the end of this week or the end of next week. Yeah.
So Martin, if you take a look at the letter, this is signed by the full board of the Montana Association of Counties, and my name's on here too, since I'm one of the board members.
Thanks, and I would assume that the county agrees with the Montana Association of Counties?
We do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering, do you have the Republican leadership's letter?
I do not. That was an editorial that they published. Signed by Senator.
Would it be useful for Martin to have that?
Probably. I don't know if it's on the Senate website, Senate leadership's website. I don't know if they.
It's probably somewhere
posted it there.
that we could send along to him.
Okay.
Mako sent it to us, I know, so.
Yeah.
We could get that to you, Martin, if you want it.
Thank
Is the
you.
letter in the packet? The
Yes.
agenda packet?
The letter is in the packet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Martin, the letter's in the agenda packet on the website, but if you need it.
But I was thinking.
Not the Senate.
The Senate.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, sorry, this letter, yeah.
We'll send you all the letters, Martin.
All right, anything else from anyone? Okay.
He stole my pen.
Sure. Thanks, everyone.
Sorry, that was my bad. I forgot a pen.
So
Grab your one.